Hmm. What is there new to talk about today? Oh, wait! Well, hello everyone. Blazing Conqueror here from GamersFate. Here to talk about the new Dragon Empire Zeron Dragon. Zeron Dragon of Inferno. Dracuma. Why do I always mess up with his name? So far the artwork for the card is the text is secret, but his skill has been revealed. Very excited for the skill, one of its kind, something that should have happened. This card feels like a dream finally come true. Let's get it. Let me read it to you. Counterblast 2. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, you may pay the cost if you do. Retire all of your opponent's units. That's the Kagero part. Bind them all faced up. That's so far the Norakami part. Just the two skills, the first two parts alone of the skill say that you can retire and bind all units, including your opponent's Vanguard. Just like it was shown in the episode. Finally, the Vanguard will suffer the pain with the rear guards all in the bind zone. No longer will the Vanguard just sit by and watch other comrades die. It will die with them. Yes. The other part of the skill is your opponent then chooses 3 cards from their hand and puts 2 of them into the drop zone. The Nubatama portion, and then puts the last one out of the 3 into the Vanguard circle. Well, because they need a Vanguard, I guess, and they'd be cheating if we didn't leave them with something. Overall, this skill is amazing. It puts your opponent at a huge disadvantage, and also this is a good card in case your opponent ends up suddenly surviving. Because depending on the card that they put on the Vanguard circle, they're going to have to work their way up to try to defeat us. And for those decks who run a ton of units that aren't really GB based, losing the G zone won't be as bad as they think, because this guy just put your opponent in a big disadvantage, and they ended up surviving. So the next turn, you still have a good chance of finishing them off as soon as it gets back to your turn, which is amazing. Moving on, now I would like to talk about this week's episode. Episode 5, Street Burning of Vengeance. The episode was about Damajin going after Kazuma, as he is one of the candidates for a diff ride to become the Genaz. Why can't I pronounce people's names today? His diff rider. After knowing that Kazuma and Kazumi, not Kazuma. Kazuma and Kazumi are strolling along. They're just eating fries, brotherly stuff. They're talking about Chronos and Tayo's disappearance, as Kazumi is worried about Kazuma being taken away, so he's being extremely overprotective. Good brotherly instincts, I guess. And then out of nowhere, Damajin shows up with his goons, and him and Kazuma are put into a boat and they fight on a boat. There were many parts too. Hayo was almost taken by Chaos Breaker, aka Noah, aka Chaos Breaker. Ren steps in and kind of pushes Noah away, because Chaos Breaker did not want to deal with him. And overall, my thoughts on this episode. I loved it. First off, we were finally introduced into our Zeron Dragon. Our greatly amazing Zeron Dragon. A very overpowered looking Zeron Dragon. Look at him. Look at all these people on their phones. Look at this man. Look at that man. He's excited too. He just can't keep his eyes off of him. Look at him in his radiant glory. Look at him. Look at him. I said look at him. Sorry, I'm just that excited. Problems that I had with this episode. One big problem I had. Let's see if I can go back to that one part with all the people. Why can't I flip and find the part? Right here. Oh, flip. I really keep messing up. Kazumi. Kazumi was a problem in this episode for me. All Kazumi really did was scream out Kazuma. He basically went all around hunting for Kazuma. I'm pretty sure you have a phone, dude. You could have easily called Ibuki, got in a helicopter, and probably saved your brother beforehand. I think that would have been the most logical thing to do, but I guess since your brother's thrown onto a boat, all you do is chase down to Several Bridge, try to find him, and only scream his name. I guess that's all you can do when your brother gets kidnapped. Another problem I had, the fight, especially when Drag Strider Luard came out. Don't get me wrong, Drag Strider Luard is definitely a good card. It's a very good situational card. Very good boss hitter. The problem is, it reminded me so much of episode 49. When Kazuma literally got rid of 5 cards in his hand, risked it all to defeat Shigenui. And in the end, it failed. It didn't fail too hard, but it failed. He did the same thing in this episode, risking the last 3 cards in his hand because he knew his opponent had a PG in his hand. Overall, I know that's a smart strategy, but he thought more about what his opponent had than what his opponent could do. And I felt like after experiencing something with that, he should have realized that things could change and his opponent knows his strategy. So I felt like he could have played a little bit differently. Another thing I had with this episode was Damajin himself. He calls himself a mercenary, saying he takes any job he gets, he must complete. Now, something I never understood with the Apocalypse's Gold is the fact is that they are going to destroy the planet that they are from because they follow Satan. We're just gonna call him Satan because he technically is that. Unless I'm not supposed to use the religious words. I'm sorry, people. Don't hurt me. They want to destroy their own home and Earth. But then what happens afterwards? Where will they go? Will they just let him destroy the world and then they have no home? It really bothers me. Unless I get a little more detail about what actually they will gain after this. I know what Damajin hopes to gain, destruction of all humans, but it's like, that's something I never understood. He's derided to a human, but he calls all humans fools and weaklings, and they're good for nothing, but he's using a human, so it's like, why are you the biggest hypocrite ever? Moving on to the last thing I want to talk about in this video are the next 2 episodes. The episode 6, Overlord's Purge. Toshiki Kai, Arata, Makoto meet up with Kamui and Misaki, who plan to invade the Apocalypse's secret laboratory. Awaiting them was the derided Wakamizu. This reminded me, I think it was episode 40 of Stridegate, where Team Trinity Dragon invades a hidden laboratory. Wakamizu's in to stop him, and they do end up stopping him. Well, K does. He ends up beating him, and then they learn a bit about what Ryuzu's plan is. This reminds me of the same thing, and it seems like Wakamitsu never really gets to participate much in the bigger plan. Now, let me explain by that. In episode 42 of Vanguard, Shoma and Wakamitsu fought, and Wakamitsu lost and ended up getting kicked out of the group. Over a few months as Next was going and then Wakamitsu was reintroduced, I thought they could have done a little more with his character. I felt like maybe instead of letting Chrono just wait for his chance to go fight Ryuzu, I felt like he could have fought on Wakamitsu, tested himself out a bit, and then go to a final boss. I felt like Chrono just needed a challenge before actually going to a final boss. And from the look of this, it sounds like Kai is fighting. Overlord is getting support in set 13, Ultimate Stride, showing off a new grade 3 and 4. The grade 3 being Dragonic Overlord the Destiny, and the grade 4 being Dragonic Overlord the Purge. For episode 7, episode 7, Relics Crisis. An illusion observes the fighters who are fighting to destroy the relics generators around the world in order to save Chrono Shindos and the others that are taken. And the shocking scene that Chrono saw while fighting in the relics is, my thoughts on what he saw could be either he is almost losing his bond with Chronodran, like a vision of that, or he is seeing what Gizes can actually do or will accomplish if he is not stopped. Chrono being the main character enough, I feel like he may learn a bit more about Gizes than the others. Good guys, well, people trying to stop Gizes, but overall, I wish them luck in stopping them because, I love Vanguard and I think of Cray as my second home, and I love them dearly.